Guys, thanks for joining us. First and foremost, glad to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a long period of time, you know what I mean, quite frustrating. Same as everybody, you know what I mean, but we're fortunate to be back at it now and starting to put things in place, so it's good.
From a manager's perspective, how difficult has everything that's going on in the wider world made things at the moment? Is it added to an already tricky situation?
Yeah, of course it has. No, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to work out that it has been difficult in terms of speaking to the players, releasing players through Zoom calls and FaceTime. It's not nice, but it's the new kind of norm. The reality of it is, at that time we weren't allowed to meet people and stuff, and the whole meeting of players and even throughout any business, the Zoom call has made it totally different. But no, in terms of organising a squad and going forward, you can't see players playing in games as recent. You're looking at Y-Scout and you're going off what people are saying about players and what you know about the players and stuff like that. So it has been difficult, but it's been challenging, but it's been good in terms of something else to learn about and something else to kind of factor into us as managers, really.
You mentioned there the whole impersonal aspect of the Zoom call thing, but of course for you guys it's the first time on like the other side of the table, so to speak. So how's that been, going from being the player getting told you're being retained or released to being the one telling them?
Yeah, and it's, we probably see it as an advantage in a sense, because we understand what's going on in that player's head, or at least part of it anyway. So we're trying to, we're trying as much as possible to empathise with the player, and obviously what we're going to speak to them about, and especially the ones that we released. We'll try to kind of break it down a wee bit and make them understand that it's not the end of the world. It is, it's a harsh thing to hear that you're not going to be re-signed and stuff like that. But we know the players that we let go, they're of a quality that they'll get another team. It will be slightly harder just now because of the whole kind of climate we're in. But I'm pretty sure that they'll sign on somewhere else. And we wish them all the best as well.
Obviously the kind of big news this week, Lee, we've got a new captain. Talk us through that one.
Yes, very early on when we came in to the club, it was clear we had a few leaders in the club, but I think the outstanding one that shone for us was Gary Miller. And not to say Gregor wasn't doing a bad job at it, he was great at what he'd done, but we thought as a leader going forward he was one of the outstanding candidates, and he brings a lot to the team. He's a kind of pivot in the centre there in front of the back two or back three, whatever it is. He's an organiser, he's a leader, and a lot of people, he's respected in the game. A lot of people look up to him and ask him for advice, and he's a good one for us to have. Crack's obviously played with him, knows what he's all about, so it goes deeper than that. But no, he's great, and it was a nice moment for him the other day with his family and stuff coming in, and he's going to take it deadly serious, which is great to see.
David, obviously in your final season you had the captain's armband, so what kind of qualities would you say that Gary has and what can he bring that Lee's mentioned there?
Mm-hmm. So, as Lee says, we recognised that the fact that Gary hadn't been playing so much or at all before we came in was quite surprising, but once we get in and obviously got him situated in there, he was very much looking to impress, wanting to stay in the team. Obviously I understand him as a player previously when I played with him, but since then, I think I mentioned it the other day, he's matured, and the way he's playing and the way he kind of holds himself now. And we've seen the way he was going about the changing room, whether it be speaking to some of the younger boys or, looking, adding a bit of advice. And for us, looking back at, you mentioned when I was captain here, but there was also players around like Lee, like Mark Kerr, there was a few others as well in the changing room, and you can't do the captaincy yourself, you need those others run about you to help out, and I think we've got 2 or 3 in there just now that's going to help Gary, but it's a good link for us into the changing room, and he'll be able to transpire any sort of messages that we're putting across that can possibly come from a different angle as in the captain's position. So No, we're delighted that obviously accepted. You know, and as Lee says, he's already taking it deadly serious. You know, he's looking at things. You know, he's kind of changing his setup round about him to make sure that he gives 100% to the job. So no, we're delighted, as I was saying. You know, look forward to it.
So there's been a huge amount of kind of good feedback you've both said there about Gary, but with that in mind, and you said, Lee, there was 2 or 3 potential leaders. Ultimately, was it a fairly easy decision?
Yeah, I think it was, to be honest. He was one we spoke about earlier on when we came in. As you speak about all the players and how they can interact, and like Crack says there's a few experienced ones like your Matt Dunnans, your Paul Dixons. You go through the full team, but even the younger ones taking that shouldering that responsibility. It's massive for us, and obviously to try and go and win any league, you need a squad of experience with a good blend of youth. But the youth has to kind of, it's hard to say, have that mature head and the shoulders kind of thing. So no, I think we've kind of looked at that and addressed that, and no, we're really happy with things going forward.
In terms of, you mentioned squad there, it just takes us on nicely, because looking at the announcement sort of maybe 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, obviously a few players left the club, but the way I look at that is, does that mean you're then fairly happy with the squad, because it looks like the nucleus is staying?
Yeah, well, you know, we spoke about that, and I think over the past couple of years, there's been too many, you know, transition in terms of players in and out, and for us it's not good. You need a bit of consistency. You need a nucleus of the squad. You need, you know, kind of backbone of the squad and stuff like that. And we also, you know, we obviously had 4 or 5 who were already signed through, but you know, we want to keep the other ones that are that we need to renegotiate their contracts, and a couple of them have already signed on. So, you know, we're hoping that, you know, we get that good base, and then obviously look to add to it as well with some players out with.
And we understand that you can't go into any specifics, but is it fair to say that you guys are reasonably confident that most of the squad will, as it stands, be in place and staying where they are?
Yeah. By next week we're confident that a few, like Crack said there, a few have already signed up. We're waiting, and obviously it's hard with having to come and meet us and stuff like that, and doing things over email and things is a bit different. It's the new normality. But no, it's been a long it's been a long process. It hasn't, because we've spoke to the players quite often. But no, we're hoping to have things in place, and obviously out with that, with other signings and stuff, we're constantly speaking to agents and speaking to players, but it's getting the right type, the right player in place, and the right type of person for our changing room.
When I as a fan look at the kind of squad at the moment, I think, you know, we still need a right back, we still need potentially a centre half, and obviously we've had departures up front in the kind of striking department. Is it fair to say that's the kind of areas you guys are looking?
Yeah, you're probably just about spot on. There's maybe 1 or 2 others as well that we're looking at, but those are crucial positions that we need filled. Absolutely, you know, players have left in those positions, and we need to fill them. And you know, there has been numerous players come across the fronties, and you know, we've had a look and we've checked them out, and you know, we've even spoke to a few that haven't went through, but you know, the search continues, and as Lee mentioned earlier, it's slightly harder just now because we can't go to a game and we can't watch them first hand. So you know, you're looking at their previous games and doing analysis on them that way, and you're looking to get recommendations on them from other people who've either played with them, trained with them, managed them or coached them as well. So you know, we're on the case, and it's, you know, there's a lot of work getting put into it to make sure, as Lee says, we get the right one. You know, it's not just about the player, it's about the person as well for us, and making sure they're right for our squad, and obviously what we want to achieve this year.
There's a lot of things we put in place in terms of numerous people we'll speak to, people we trust, in terms of giving us feedback, because we're not just looking for the positive feedback on a player coming in, it's more the negatives that we look at and say, listen, can we work with this person to iron out the negatives? Is there any negatives? That kind of thing, and it's crucial for us to speak to at least 10 to 15 people that we know within the game, because our contacts are very good, being around the game long enough to know a lot of people that we trust. So as it's a kind of I say it's a long process. It is, but it has to be done to get the right person, the right player into Falkirk Football Club.
Do you guys, between you obviously, have a kind of idea of a volume of recruitment you want to get to a particular squad size?
We've kind of touched on it. We know, obviously, we've spoke with the board and stuff like that, and Gary as well. And we've got a kind of number that we want to get to help us throughout the season. We understood last year that when we came in, the size of squad that was there. And obviously we let a few go in the kind of January. And there was possibly one or two that we could have got in, but it never happened. But as long as we've got the quality throughout the squad, we're not just looking to add players just because we can get them. And as I said, players are getting put towards us, every single day. But it's not just a case of, right, we'll take him because he's available. We need to do that due diligence on him and making sure they're the right person and the right player for us. So, we're working on the numbers just now. But I think across the board, I think squad sizes might be slightly smaller this year.
It's a different climate, isn't it?
So if we can capitalise on that by, getting that right number, that's slightly more than other squads, then it should help us throughout the season.
Of course, one person that will be joining the squad is Blair Snedden. Tell us about your hopes for him.
Yes, Blair's a great kid. We had him in at the tail end of last season, and he came in. To look at him, you think, oh, he's just a young boy coming out of school, which he is. But throwing him into training, we've seen a really good side to him in terms of nothing fazed him. He'd all these experienced players up against him, never changed the way he played at all. He's positive, a great left foot, and he's got a very mature head on his shoulders for such a young boy, which is great. Obviously, he's got a lot to learn and he knows that. He's got Paul Dixon in front of him who is willing to give him that knowledge and to kind of look up to him, kind of thing. No, he's an exciting player, and he's just so young and raw, but he's got so much attributes just now for a young age, and he's got so much more to kind of potential that they work with, and we're excited to get him in and to work. And obviously being a Falkirk kid as well, the fans love one of their own, and hopefully we can produce that in the near future.
And then you mentioned Paul Dixon there. Obviously, you must be quite hopeful that Paul can obviously help kind of pass a few things on to Blair.
Yeah, absolutely. And we would expect that. The type of person that Paul is, he would naturally do that. And he's already mentioned it. And even the week that Blair was in, there was conversations had, and that was good about Blair as well. Although he's a young boy and stuff like that, and he's come out of a different environment, he was still asking questions, which we openly say to the players. If there's something on your mind, ask the question, because it's the only way you're going to find out the answer sometimes. So Blair was doing that quite naturally, which is good because you can see that he wants to improve. He's hungry. He understands that he's got a lot to learn, but there's already a good base of a player there to work with, and some of the stuff that Lee mentioned. He's a Falkirk boy, and we want to bring that back to the club. Looking at a bit of youth, and it'll take time. It'll take time. We're not talking about a full academy or anything like that kind of stuff, but it's got to be brought back gradually. And players like Blair are definitely going to help that.
And just finally, guys, how important has it been for the backing that season ticket holders have given you, and what does it mean, the fact that in light of everything that's going on in the world just now, the fans are still stumping up their cash and buying the season tickets?
Yeah, it's hugely important to us, and David and I know how much the fans are, what we think of the fans. The relationship we've got with the fans is incredible. Even down to the 50-50 tickets, the refunds and the season tickets, you could go on and on, but the fans they look out for the club because they love the club as much as we do, and it's really good to see, because we need them. Obviously we're probably going to start the season without fans, and they're normally our kind of 12th man, but the support they've shown to the club, it means a lot to us.
And even just following on to that, it is massively important. We appreciate them stumping up their cash, and putting forward and not taking the refunds and stuff like that, because ultimately it does affect how we move forward this year, because there's a part of that that's obviously going to go towards the squad. So you know, it's really important that, you know, anything they can give is, you know, is really appreciated, because then it helps our position to get that right player, and, you know, that might focus on that extra bit of money that we've got that's coming in through the season tickets that might possibly help it.
And the thing is, we understand everybody's got their own position in terms of some might need the money. So that's not to say we don't appreciate everybody in that by speaking about it, because everybody's got their own personal circumstances. But no, you can't speak highly enough of the fans.
Well, guys, it's been great to get the update as always, but good luck for all the business that you'll no doubt be doing in the next few weeks. We hope it all goes well, and as always, thanks for your time.
Perfect.
Thank
Thank you.